President Biden's foreign policy versus Trump's foreign policy, what do you think are the top things that have changed other than the war in Ukraine? What's your assessment just of where he's taking the country versus Trump?
Well, peace comes through strength, not through weakness. And the unilateral withdrawal from Afghanistan, when there were only 3,000 American soldiers left, and one had been killed in the last 18 months, and hey, you can lose that many in road crashes, let alone be involved. It was the Afghan army doing the fighting, it was the Americans and us helping them with equipment, training and everything. He did it without even consulting us, his oldest allies. That led to the collapse, the return of the Taliban, America losing $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world. And it led to Putin saying, they're weak, they've given up. That war wouldn't have even happened if Trump had still been there. I think, I honestly believe Trump's biggest achievement was his foreign policy. That America suddenly was a peacemaker or a warmonger, and we saw that with the Abraham Accords and much else. So America's role on the world stage has diminished under Biden.
Some in the media are throwing around the World War III term. How worried are you about that when it comes to Russia and China and possibly forming some sort of formal alliance in the future? How concerned are you about it?
Ironically, our sanctions have forced, European sanctions particularly, British sanctions have forced China and Russia closer together. Putin and his henchmen have dared to use the nuclear term, which the Soviets never did. Even, I know we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, but the Soviets never used that language. Look, we need to have a negotiated peace. There needs to be a negotiated peace. And I think, if we're being honest about it, Zelensky's idea of retaking Crimea isn't going to happen. There are complications about the Donbass, but there needs to be a negotiated peace.
What's the end game in your mind in Ukraine? Where do you see this ending up?
I have a feeling this goes on for years. Steve Bannon says no, American funding will stop, Russia will keep going, Ukraine in the end will give in. I just don't see that. I think Europeans will keep giving money towards Ukraine. I fear this goes on for years.